Let me read to you a passage from the 25th chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel, verses 14 to 30. It's the Gospel for Saturday of the 21st week in Ordinary Time. I will only read part of the Gospel because it's a large passage. St. Matthew writes, Jesus told his disciples this parable. A man going on a journey called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, and to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received the 5 talents went off at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more. So also the one with the 2 talents, gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. Then the man who had received 1 talent came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid, and went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed? Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. Take the talent from him, and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For everyone who has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. And throw that worthless servant outside, into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's from Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. Let's think of that person given the 1 talent. You know, one of the most obvious things in creation is difference. There is an amazing number of species of plant life. And in the Amazon jungles they are still discovering species. It is the same with fish and animals. The species are striking in their difference and number. And it is regarded by most as a tragedy if a species dies out. Whether it is the magnificent rhino or tiger, or some tiny insect, the differences are precious, and each has its valued place in the tapestry of nature. There is a remarkable range of differences among human beings too, not only in natural qualities such as size, colour and physical appearance, but in the privileges they enjoy. You have the young man born into a royal family. His opportunities for personal development are all there for the asking, and he has the chance in life of doing a great deal of good if he so chooses. Yet there are countless others who by comparison have minimal privileges. The wedding of the royal is an international event, while the wedding of the ordinary young man a few suburbs away in London is scarcely an event at all. It is like comparing the magnificent lyrebird with the sparrow. God so disposes his creation that there are countless differences in the works of his hands. The Son of God begins his ministry and invites certain persons, certain disciples, to be his chosen apostles. Why they and not others? They are privileged with an exalted vocation of being companions of Jesus Christ, while the others are physically at a distance from him. Even within the 12, Christ chooses 3 to be his more special companions, Peter, James and John, and St. Paul's letter tells us that they were counted as the pillars of the infant church. Even within those 3, John is the beloved disciple, and he leans back on the breast of Jesus Christ and asks who the traitor is, and Christ tells him. In the history of the church there are great saints, and there are numerous unknown members of the church making their way through life with far more modest spiritual gifts. St. Thomas Aquinas tells us somewhere that each angel is its own species. So while in the material world there are a great number of species, each species having numerous members, in the angelic world each angel is its own species. There are countless differences in creation. The danger is that envy can set in. I suspect that a great proportion of wars and revolutions have their origin in envy. Pilate saw that the chief priests and scribes had handed Jesus over to him out of envy. We have, I suggest, an excellent example in John the Baptist. His disciples came to him and told him that people were now going to Jesus. He said, "No one can lay hold on anything unless it is given to him from above. I am not the Messiah." John chapter 3 verse 26. Each has his gift and his work in life. That is to say, whoever we are, each of us counts. None of us is simply swept under the carpet, not mattering much. We all matter. And this brings us to our gospel passage today, Matthew 25 verses 14 to 30. We all matter so much that if we neglect our work in life, no matter how modest and out of the sight and applause of men it might be, we shall be judged for it. A man going on a journey called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. You might think that if the man given the 1 talent was neglectful, well, in the total scheme of things, that would not matter much, as long as the man given the 5 or the one given the 2 made good use of the master's investment in him. In ordinary life, this is how we tend to think. The little people can get along doing what they like, but as long as the important ones do a good job, then all will be well. But no. In his parable today, our Lord makes it clear that if the little person is slothful or does not make good use of his master's money, what has been given, then his neglect will be viewed by the master with the utmost seriousness. Every little person counts. Imagine the impact on the world if every single member of the church was acutely conscious of his or her calling to work with Christ for the evangelization of the world. Every baptized person is called to share in the friendship of Jesus Christ and to participate in his mission of bringing that divine friendship to the world. The little people matter. It was the crowds whom the chief priests feared. It was the crowds who called for Christ's death. The little people in those crowds made a difference. Cardinal Newman composed a reflection that is applicable to all. Let me read it to you. He says, "God has created me to do him some definite service. He has committed some work to me which he has not committed to another. I have my mission. I may never know it in this life, but I shall be told it in the next. I am a link in a chain, a bond of connection between persons. He has not created me for naught. I shall do good. I shall do his work. I shall be an angel of peace, a preacher of truth in my own place, while not intending it if I do but keep his commandments. Therefore I will trust him. Whatever I am, I can never be thrown away. If I am in sickness, my sickness may serve him. In perplexity, my perplexity may serve him. If I am in sorrow, my sorrow may serve him. He does nothing in vain. He knows what he is about. He may take away my friends. He may throw me among strangers. He may make me feel desolate, make my spirit sink, hide my future from me. Still, he knows what he is about." Let all of us little people take this reflection to heart. Every little person counts.